Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. We talk a lot on the show about the power of our minds and the things we're thinking about all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a ton of comments and questions from you guys about self-talk.
Yeah.
Like, how does it actually work? Can I really change my life just by thinking differently?
Right.
And we hear you. We really do. So today we're going to do a super deep dive into a video
Okay.
that really digs into the nitty-gritty,
Yeah.
the science behind self-talk.
Oh, the science.
It's a YouTube video by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he calls it Talk to Yourself Like This for just 3 days.
3 days. That's it.
That's a pretty bold claim, right? Like, in just 3 days,
Yeah.
you can rewire your brain for success.
Yeah.
I'm a little skeptical, but I'm definitely curious.
I get it. It sounds a little too good to be true, but,
Oh, right?
well, maybe. There's something to it.
Okay, so before we get into Dispenza's 3-day protocol and all that jazz,
Uh-huh.
can we kind of back up a sec and talk about what's already going on in our brains when it comes to self-talk?
Yeah, totally. So Dispenza points out this kind of crazy stat that, 90% of our thoughts each day are just reruns from the day before.
90%. Are you serious?
Seriously. So basically, most of us are just running on autopilot, mentally speaking.
Wow.
And these repetitive thoughts, they're not just some fleeting thing. They actually shape the physical structure of our brains.
Okay, wait. So how does that work?
Every time you think a thought, certain neural pathways in your brain light up. And the more you think that thought, the stronger those pathways become.
So it's kind of like if I'm always thinking I'm not good enough, my brain's actually making it easier to think that way again and again.
Precisely. It's the neurons that fire together, wire together principle.
The neurons that fire together.
Wire together.
Ooh, catchy.
Yeah, it's like creating a groove in a record.
Yeah.
The more you play it, the deeper that groove gets.
Okay, that makes sense. But the thing is, our brains aren't like fixed records, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we hear all the time about neuroplasticity and how our brains can change and adapt.
Exactly. That's the really exciting part. It means we're not stuck with our current brain wiring. We can actually rewire those pathways, even the ones that are deeply ingrained.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we actually rewrite the program? Is that where this 3-day thing comes in?
You got it. This is where Dispenza's 3-day protocol comes into play. And he breaks it down into these 3 key time windows for brain reprogramming: morning, afternoon, and evening.
Interesting. So why these specific times? What's so special about them?
He suggests that these are times when our brains are kind of primed for change.
Oh.
So in the morning, for example, it's all about setting the tone for the day. He says we should be speaking powerful, positive statements out loud, almost like we're giving our brain its marching orders for the day.
So like instead of just thinking, I'm going to have a great day, you actually say it out loud.
That's the idea. He believes that the act of speaking those words engages more of your brain and makes those statements more real.
Makes sense. And what about the afternoon window?
Dispenza suggests that between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., our brains are especially receptive to combining physical movement with our self-talk.
Okay, so like taking a walk and affirming my goals at the same time.
Exactly. It's about getting your body and mind on the same page, aligning your physical and mental states.
I like it. So what's the grand finale in the evening?
He suggests winding down with reflection and gratitude. He says take a few minutes to review your day, focus on any wins, no matter how small, and express gratitude for those experiences.
So basically, end the day on a high note, give your brain a positive message to process while you sleep.
Precisely. And he emphasizes that you don't have to spend hours on this.
Oh, girl.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes during each of these time windows can make a real difference.
That's totally doable. Okay, this is all starting to sound pretty good, but let's be real. Sometimes it's tough to just switch to positive self-talk, Like, what if I've got years of negative patterns ingrained in my brain?
Right, and Dispenza addresses that. He calls it hitting the wall of doubt.
The wall of doubt. Ooh, that sounds a little intimidating.
Yeah, it can be. He says around day 2 of this protocol, a lot of people start feeling really uncomfortable. Like they're faking it, they want to quit. But here's the thing. He says that resistance is actually a good sign.
Wait, seriously? How can feeling like crap be a good thing?
It means you're actually breaking new ground, Those old thought patterns are fighting back as you're trying to create new ones.
So like my brain's throwing a tantrum because it doesn't want to change.
Pretty much. It's like you're trying to hike a new trail, but there's this dense thicket in your way. That thicket is a sign that you're forging a new path.
That's a good analogy. Okay, so the struggle is real, but it means I'm actually making progress.
Exactly. And Dispenza says, when those doubts creep in, just take a few deep breaths and remind yourself that you're in the process of transformation.
So breathe and trust the process.
Got it. But, so far we've been talking about all this from like a neurological perspective.
But Dispenza takes it a step further, right? He even ties it into quantum physics.
Oh, yeah, he goes there. And that's where things get really wild.
So where do we even begin with that?
Well, he starts by talking about this concept of coherence, like creating harmony between your heart and your brain.
Heart and brain harmony, that sounds kind of woo-woo.
I know, right? But he's got some interesting science to back it up.
Okay, I'm listening.
Think about it. When you're stressed, your heart rate goes up, right? Your body's flooded with stress hormones.
Yeah, for sure.
Dispenza says that when you focus on positive self-talk, and especially when you do it while placing your hand over your heart, you can actually shift your heart rhythm.
Really?
Yeah. And as your heart rhythm becomes more coherent, it sends signals to your brain.
So it's like calming down that fight or flight response.
Exactly. Your brain's like, hey, everything's cool. We can chill now.
And then what? What happens when the brain chills out?
Well, it starts dialing down the stress hormones and pumping up the feel-good chemicals like serotonin and oxytocin.
Ooh, the happy hormones.
Yes. And Dispenza believes this isn't just about feeling good, it's actually a cellular transformation.
Wait, hold on. We're talking about actually changing ourselves just by changing our self-talk.
That's what he suggests. He says this flood of positive chemicals can literally signal your genes to express themselves differently.
Whoa, hold on. Are you saying we can change our genes just with our thoughts?
It's not about changing your DNA sequence, but how those genes are expressed. Like you're adjusting the volume on different aspects of your biology.
Wow, this is getting deep. So, like, by flooding my cells with happy hormones, I'm actually upgrading my biological software.
That's a great way to put it.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to be positive 24/7. It's about, like, consciously rewiring our brains and bodies to function at a higher level.
You got it. You're retraining your cells to crave those feel-good chemicals instead of the stress chemicals.
So it's like a total mind-body makeover.
Exactly.
Okay, so far we've covered autopilot thoughts, rewiring brain pathways, and now, like, our cells actually transforming. And all this is just through self-talk. My mind is kind of blown right now, and we haven't even gotten to the quantum physics stuff yet.
I know, right? Buckle up, because it gets even wilder. It is kind of mind-blowing, right? It makes you realize how much power we actually have over our own well-being.
Yeah, for sure. But Dispenza doesn't just talk about how this affects us internally.
Right.
He also says it impacts, like, everything around us, our work, our relationships, even our health.
He says that when you start talking to yourself differently, you actually start showing up differently in the world, too.
So it's like my vibe changes.
Exactly. He believes we're constantly giving off these, like, energetic signals based on what we're thinking and feeling.
Okay, that makes sense for, like, relationships. But what about work? How does self-talk affect that?
Well, Dispenza says that when you shift your inner dialogue, you also shift your perception of the world.
Interesting.
You start to see opportunities that you might have missed before.
Like, they were always there, but I just couldn't see them.
Yeah, like tuning into a different frequency or something.
Okay, I could see that. And what about health? How does this tie into, like, physical well-being?
Well, we already talked about the heart-brain connection and how positive self-talk can help reduce stress. But Dispenza takes it even further. He suggests that reducing stress can have a huge impact on your immune system, sleep, even things like chronic pain.
Wow, it's like creating a ripple effect of good vibes throughout your whole body.
Exactly. But then he takes it even further.
Oh boy, here we go.
He connects all of this to quantum physics.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break this down for me because quantum physics, that's a whole other level.
I know, right? It gets kind of trippy.
Except that,
But basically, Dispenza is suggesting that our thoughts and emotions can actually have a direct impact on our physical reality.
okay, wait. How is that even possible?
Well, he uses this concept called quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement. Go on.
Have you ever heard of that?
Vaguely. Something about, like, particles being connected even if they're far apart.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, like, imagine two particles that are linked no matter how much distance is between them.
Okay.
If you change one particle, the other one changes instantaneously, too.
Whoa. Spooky action at a distance.
Right. And Dispenza applies this idea to our bodies.
Yeah.
Like, our bodies are entangled with this quantum field, and our thoughts are like those particles, instantly affecting our physical reality.
So, like, if I'm constantly thinking negative thoughts, I'm actually creating negative experiences in my life.
That's the basic idea. He's saying we're more interconnected than we realize, and that our internal state has a ripple effect on our external reality, including our health.
This is a lot to process.
I know, right? It's a huge paradigm shift.
It is, and I have to admit, a part of me is still a little skeptical.
Understandable.
Like,
Yeah.
if we're really that powerful, why isn't everyone living their dream life?
That's a really good question, and it's something a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to a few things. First, consistent practice is key. It's not like you do this 3-day thing once and you're done.
Right.
You gotta keep at it, keep cultivating those positive thoughts and beliefs over time.
So it's more like a lifestyle change than a quick fix.
Exactly. It's like learning a new language or a musical instrument. It takes time and effort to master it.
Makes sense. Anything else we need to keep in mind?
Well, Dispenza also talks about how we're not operating in a vacuum, you know?
Yeah.
There are external factors, circumstances, stuff we can't control that influence our lives.
Right, life happens.
Exactly. So it's not like self-talk is a magic wand,
Yeah.
but it can definitely help us navigate those challenges with more grace and resilience.
So it's about empowering ourselves to create the best possible reality, even when things get tough.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the 3-day protocol. Dispenza says there's a specific action we should take the moment we wake up.
Uh-huh.
What was it again?
He says before you even get out of bed, put your hand on your heart, feel your heartbeat, take a few deep breaths, and start talking to yourself.
Like literally talking to myself in bed.
Yeah. It's about setting the tone for the day before those old mental tapes start playing.
Interrupting the autopilot before it even kicks in?
Exactly. And he gives a really powerful affirmation to start with.
Oh, what is it?
He says, "Today I step into my new reality. Today my thoughts create my new future. Today I become the person I know I can be."
Whoa, that's powerful.
Right, and he emphasizes feeling those words, really embodying them, not just saying them mindlessly.
It's like giving yourself a pep talk from the soul.
Exactly.
This all sounds amazing, but I gotta ask, have you actually tried this 3-day protocol yourself?
I have, and I'm not going to lie, it was challenging.
Really?
Oh yeah, especially that wall of doubt Dispenza talks about. I definitely hit that.
And how did you get through it?
Honestly, just kept reminding myself that the discomfort was temporary and that it meant I was actually making progress.
So you just powered through?
Pretty much. And you know what? It was totally worth it. I really did notice a shift in my energy, my mindset, even in the opportunities that came my way.
What kind of opportunities? Spill the tea.
Well, for one, I finally had the courage to start this podcast. I'd been thinking about it for ages.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
I know, right? But fear and self-doubt were holding me back. And after going through Dispenza's protocol, I felt this surge of confidence and clarity, and I just went for it.
That's so inspiring. It's like the protocol helped you align with a desire that was already there but needed a little nudge.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't about creating something out of thin air, but about tapping into a potential that was already within me.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
You know, as we're deep diving into all of this, it makes me realize that Dispenza is actually using his words to influence us, the listeners, too.
Ooh, that's an interesting observation. How so?
Well, he uses a lot of vivid imagery and metaphors, like comparing our brains to computers that can be reprogrammed.
Yeah.
And he's really good at making these complex scientific concepts easy to understand.
And he doesn't shy away from strong, emotive language.
Right. Like, he'll use words like extraordinary, supernatural, destiny, and it really gets you fired up.
Yeah. It's like he's not just teaching about the power of self-talk, he's demonstrating it in real time.
Whoa, that's meta.
Yeah.
He's using his words to create a specific effect in our minds.
Exactly. It's brilliant, really.
It makes you think about how much of our reality is shaped by the language we're exposed to every day. You know?
That's such a good point.
Like, not just from self-talk, but from everything, the news, social media, our conversations with friends and family.
It's like a constant stream of words shaping our thoughts and beliefs.
And ultimately shaping our reality.
Exactly. Which means we have a responsibility to choose our words carefully, both for ourselves and for others.
Yeah, because words have power.
They really do.
They can create, inspire, heal, or harm.
It's about becoming conscious of the language we're putting out into the world.
Love that. And speaking of the language we're exposed to, I think it's worth remembering that this YouTube video we're deep diving into is actually a compilation, right?
Oh, right. You're right. It's a bunch of snippets from different talks and workshops Dispenza has given over the years.
Exactly. So it's not like a complete comprehensive overview of his work.
Yeah, we're kind of getting a highlight reel.
Which is great for getting a taste of his ideas.
For sure.
But it's important to remember that we're only seeing a small piece of the puzzle.
Right. It's always a good idea to dig deeper, Do your own research and see if these ideas resonate with you.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
But even from these snippets, it's clear that Dispenza is making some pretty bold claims.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's basically saying we have the power to become supernatural beings.
He is. He's challenging us to step outside our comfort zones and consider that we might be capable of way more than we think.
It's a pretty radical idea, but
Uh,
is it really that far-fetched? I mean, we're constantly learning new things about the power of the mind,
yeah.
the interconnectedness of everything.
It's true. And maybe Dispenza is just giving voice to a deeper truth that's always been there.
The truth that we are more than just our physical bodies, that we are powerful creators connected to something bigger than ourselves.
And that's a pretty amazing possibility to consider, don't you think?
It really is. It's
Yeah.
something worth exploring, even if it means questioning everything we thought we knew about reality.
Because who knows what we might discover along the way.
Exactly. I love that sense of possibility. I think that's what's so captivating about Dispenza's message. It's not just about self-improvement. It's about tapping into this deeper power, this potential that we all have within us.
It's about remembering who we truly are, these incredible beings capable of creating extraordinary things.
Yes. And it begs the question, if we have this power to shape our reality, why are so many people struggling? Why is there so much suffering in the world?
That's a question that has puzzled philosophers and spiritual teachers for centuries.
Right. It's a big one.
But from Dispenza's perspective, it seems like a lot of us are just unaware of our own power.
Like we've forgotten that we're the creators of our own reality.
Exactly. He says we get caught up in these cycles of negativity, these limiting beliefs that keep us stuck.
So it's like a collective amnesia. We've forgotten our true potential.
That's a great way to put it. And Dispenza is urging us to wake up, to remember who we are and what we're capable of creating.
That's a powerful message of hope, isn't it?
It really is, but it also prompts some deeper questions.
Like what?
Well, if we take this idea of being quantum creators seriously, does that mean we're responsible for everything that happens to us, even the bad stuff?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, and I don't think Dispenza gives a clear-cut answer. He acknowledges that challenges are part of life,
Right.
but he also says that we have the power to choose how we respond to those challenges.
So it's not about denying the existence of negativity. It's about choosing how we relate to it.
Exactly. It's about focusing our energy on creating the reality we want, even when things are tough.
And remembering that we always have the power to shift our inner state, even if we can't control what's happening externally.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the power of our self-talk, that inner dialogue that's constantly shaping our experience.
It's like we're writing the script of our lives, one thought at a time.
And Dispenza is challenging us to become more conscious authors of that script.
To choose words that empower us and move us closer to the reality we want to experience.
I love that. It's so empowering.
It really is. You know, and another thing that stands out to me about Dispenza's work is how he blends science and spirituality.
Yes. He weaves together concepts from neuroscience, quantum physics, ancient wisdom traditions. It's really fascinating.
It's like he's creating a whole new way of understanding reality, our place in it, and our potential as conscious creators.
And that's so important, especially in today's world.
Yeah, because if we're really all interconnected, as Dispenza suggests, then our thoughts and actions have a much bigger impact than we might realize.
It means we have a responsibility to not only change our own lives, but to contribute to a more positive and harmonious world.
It's like Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Exactly. And Dispenza's work gives us the tools to do just that.
I think that's why his work resonates with so many people. He's speaking to this deep desire for meaning and purpose, this hunger to create a more fulfilling and authentic life.
And he's doing it in a way that speaks to both our hearts and our minds.
Exactly. He's bridging the gap between ancient wisdom and modern science.
And offering a vision of what's possible when we tap into our full potential as human beings.
I love that. So, as we continue to explore this idea of self-talk as a powerful tool for transformation, we want to leave you with a question to ponder.
Okay.
What would happen if we all took this idea of being quantum creators seriously? If we all started consciously choosing our thoughts and words, knowing they have the power to shape not just our own reality, but the reality of those around us?
That's a powerful question to sit with. What kind of world do you think we could create?
I imagine a world where people feel more empowered, more connected, more aligned with their true purpose.
A world where we approach challenges with creativity and resilience?
A world where anything feels possible.
That's a future worth striving for, isn't it?
Absolutely. So as we move forward, let's keep exploring this idea of self-talk. Let's keep practicing, and let's see what kind of magic we can create together.
Sounds good to me.
As we're wrapping up our deep dive, I keep coming back to this idea of self-talk as like a bridge between science and spirituality.
Oh, yeah, totally. It's like Dispenza is taking all this knowledge from neuroscience and quantum physics and blending it with ancient wisdom.
Exactly. It's a pretty unique approach, and it really makes you think about the power of our minds in a whole new way.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about, like, improving ourselves on a personal level.
Right.
It's about connecting to something much bigger, something beyond our individual selves.
I think that's what makes his work so compelling. It's not just about self-help. It's about, like, tapping into our full potential as human beings.
Yeah, it's about remembering who we really are and what we're capable of creating.
It's like we all have this incredible power within us,
hmm
but somewhere along the way, we kind of forgot how to access it.
And Dispensa is reminding us how to tap back into that power.
Exactly. And it all starts with that inner dialogue, the way we talk to ourselves.
Because those thoughts and words, they're not just happening in a vacuum, they're actually shaping our reality.
And shaping the reality of those around us.
It's a ripple effect.
I love that analogy. It's like each thought we think is like a little pebble being dropped into a pond.
And those ripples spread out, creating waves of energy that impact the whole pond.
And if we're all connected, as Dispenza suggests,
Mhm.
then those ripples can spread out even further, impacting the entire world.
Wow, that's a powerful thought.
It is, right?
hmm
It makes you realize that we all have a role to play in creating a more positive and harmonious world.
Yeah, for sure. It starts with each of us taking responsibility for our own thoughts and actions.
And recognizing that we have the power to make a difference no matter how small.
Because even the tiniest act of kindness or compassion can create a ripple effect that spreads outwards.
And eventually, those ripples can create massive waves of change.
Exactly. It's like the butterfly effect.
Love it. So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of self-talk, we want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
What if everything you've ever desired is just a thought, a word, an intention away? What if the power to change your life, to create a more fulfilling and meaningful reality, lies within you?
Take a moment to really let that sink in and then start speaking your dreams into existence.
Because the world needs your unique gifts and talents.
And we believe in you.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.